Hello, welcome to another episode of Tolu Dialogues. And today I have with me an amazing woman, an entrepreneur, a mother, someone that literally transforms lives with her hands. And I mean literally with her hands. So please join me as I welcome Adebimpe Obodozie.
Thank you so much. So good to be here. Thanks for having me.
I got the name right.
Yes, you did.
So Vinke, thank you so much for coming. And I know it was a lot trying to get you here today because you're so busy, juggling a lot of balls, but I'm really happy that you're here today. And I'm sure people are.
Okay.
So Bimz, this is the woman, the power, the brain behind Bimz. And today we'll be talking a lot about that and other things. So I'm just going to go straight into the questions, if that's okay. So what actually inspired you into making wigs?
Okay.
Because I know you make amazing wigs. Like I'm spotting one today.
Okay. You look so beautiful.
Thank you. And whilst you're on that question, I'd like you to sort of link that into how that has actually shaped what that has done for you to understand what beauty is and confidence as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tolu. Thank you for having me here. I am so elated. My journey to selling wigs, I think, goes back to 13 years now. I started in 2011, and this was just out of passion and just something I just wanted to do outside of my structured 9-to-5. And that has gone on since then. I moved into Canada with my family in October 2021. And before then, I've been selling wig back home in Nigeria full-time for about 4 to 5 years, full-time. And I got here and it's like, okay, am I going to be selling wigs full-time here? It's quite different from where I am coming from. So it was a lot of things going on in my head. Do I go back to writing my law exams, or do I go on to just get another certification and get on to doing something and then doing the wig thing by the side? And then my husband just encouraged me and said, you know what? If you really do want to pursue this, you have to, like, wholeheartedly, meaning you have to put in all of your heart and time. If you do go to do your 9-to-5, that might just be a bit, you might just get into your way of doing this, your
passion.
Yeah. And then, so it was then like, okay, where do I start from? How do I start? And I remember that I had, a lady had reached out to me who via a WhatsApp group, and then she had reached out and she, we were just talking, and then she asked, so what do you want to do? I did tell her I sell wigs, and she said, oh, okay, you could actually look into selling wigs to people suffering from alopecia and cancer. I have a friend whose sister does this in the UK because she had just moved into Canada at that time from the UK. Okay. And then I'm like, okay, do you know her name? She's like, I cannot remember. I could ask her sister, and then we just spoke about this, and then we went on to talking about other things. Anyways, my best friend calls me and she's like, how are you? How are you settling in? So what's the plan? What do you want to do? And then I told her, I said, I just spoke to someone and she said I could actually sell wigs to people who are suffering from alopecia and cancer. And she's like, that sounds good. Do you know where we can? I said, I would, just research and see how that goes. And she's like, okay. And then she left. We ended up the conversation. And then she calls me back in 2 weeks and said, I found the girl in the UK. Like that. I'm like, okay. And then I started understudying this, she was doing something quite passionate from the heart. I started doing a lot of research. I've been reading, I've been doing research just to understand what it is that I hope I would be getting to. And so my friend called me back. My best friend, she called me back and said, I found the girl. I'm like, really?
Just like that?
And then we started checking. She was checking for me. I was checking. So she was checking for me, and I was also doing my research. So I just went on and I just kept searching. And then after about 6 months, I just felt, I think I'm comfortable to be able to reach out to my manufacturers. And then I did reach out, and then they're like, okay, we could do it. It's our first time doing this, and we would like to work with you. So we did enter into some sort of partnership agreement. Immediately they sent me a sample. I was over the moon. I went on my Instagram bio. I changed my bio details. I'm like, I sell medical wigs,
just like that,
in Canada, and then I just started talking about it.
And that's the power of having that confidence and just knowing that
yeah.
this is becoming a reality, just from conversation.
Yeah,
I'm following you.
And so this, I think it was a Thursday afternoon, I got a knock on my door, and I opened the door. It was this very Tolu, frail looking young girl. I was scared, and I'd even forgotten that I'd put up an ad that I sell, medical wigs and all. And she came, she had like a machine attached to her. She was really frail. And I asked her, I'm like, what would you like to, sorry, I wasn't sure. I wanted to be sure that
the right address?
Right address, because I run Obviously. The business, from my home. And then I asked her to come, and she's like, you did say she's a larger than life human being. And then she said, you did say you sell like medical wigs and, and I'm like, oh yes, I do.
That one I do.
And then I let her in, and she said, I just had a major lungs transfer. I am suffering from a very rare, actually first of its kind in Canada.
Wow.
Autoimmune disease. And I had my lungs removed and replaced. I've gone through several chemotherapy, and I have lost my hair. So the first time she came with her husband, and I'm like, oh, okay, excited. I'm like, yes, I sell wigs, medical wigs.
Well, at that point, were you thinking, oh my goodness, this is really happening? Am I ready for this? Or were you thinking, oh, I got this? Well, how were you feeling? How was your, what was going through your mind? Because yes, you just sell medical wigs, but not literally at that point. That was like so how were you feeling when she walked in?
When she walked, I was a bit scared. I'm like, she was very frail, but right in my head, just because I'd been doing a lot of research and I'd done this for like close to a year, and then my manufacturers had sent me a sample. So I just felt
you're ready.
This has to be,
So you prepared yourself.
Yes. Yeah. And so we tried the sample. She wore it. She's like, oh, wow, this is so good. And she asked how much it was, and I gave her some ridiculous price. And she's like, are you crazy? Anaya, she's crazy like that. She would say it as it is. We ended up becoming like really good friends. And then she asked me, she's like, are you crazy? Why would you sell this at this ridiculous? And I'm like, I was scared at the time, and she said, okay, and she left. I was happy. I called my best friend. I'm like, yes, I made a sale. Like, you did? Yes, I did. Okay, so, and then I started reaching out to my manufacturer. We need to produce more. We need to work on sizing. We need to, and then 2 weeks after she comes back, this time she came back with her mom and husband. And when she did come, she opened up her cap and she was all red. Literally red. What happened?
She reacted.
She said, I reacted to the wig. Like, this is meant to be like the lace is like medically tested. It's skin sensitive, And she's like, I reacted. And I went, I am so sorry, And she's like, you don't have to be. We just have to find another way out.
That's the spirit. Yeah. It's just an obstacle.
You still want to work with me? She said, yes, I will. I believe in you. And I just started crying. I'm like, I don't even know how long this will be. At this point, I was confused, And she left. And as she was walking out, she said, please do get me another wig and work on your pricing this time. I said, okay. And she left and I started. I went back to my manufacturers. They were so willing to
work with you as well.
Work with me, to know what the issues were. So they went back. We had different sort of lace testing. We had gone through like different sort of like antibacterial layer just so to be double sure that the construction and all of that looks fine. Anyways, 2 months into all of this, a new wig comes, and I called and I am like, so what are you wearing in the meantime? And she's like, girl, I'm just waiting on you. I don't even want to go anywhere. So she came back. I did try the wig on. She loved it. She really loved the wig, and she left. And this time I charged her properly. And she's like, yeah, you're almost there, but
not quite
there yet. And I'm like, at this time, I'm actually waiting on,
Were you panicking? Were you going, oh, 1 week, is Anna going to call me?
Oh, Lord. Every day I'm checking my phone. And at this time I'd started working on my website, and I realized that someone had dropped a review on my website like a month after. It was Anaya. She had dropped a review of what she used to look like, and then the wig, and she just dropped a very heartfelt message for me from her heart, and I cried. And
I can still see you getting teary about
every
that.
time. And that's how the business started, honestly. From that review, I started getting patronage.
So I have so many questions. I didn't want to interrupt you.
Okay, sure.
So the first one that is on my mind is, why do you think people kept on giving you? Because you said something about she reacted, but she still came back. The manufacturers were willing to do it again. What do you think they saw? What do you think you were, what was the word, portraying that made them believe in your vision? How were you able to carry the vision to them to go?
I think
what would you say was, I'm sure you probably don't have, as I'm just thinking, I'm like, because like everybody gave you chances over and over again.
They did.
Which some people are probably written or will probably sue you or selling them in medical wigs.
In fact,
so what do you think? So I'm curious, like, what made them committed to that? What do you think?
At that time when Anaya walked in, I'm like, oh my goodness, I just came into Canada, lawsuit, And I think it's just from my passion, really. At that time, I wasn't even concerned about profits. I'd read so much. I just felt like I just wanted to just put a smile on, like, even if it's just one woman, like, so it was genuinely from my heart. It was something I really wanted to do. And then I think my manufacturers did catch on this, and they also felt like, yes, it was they felt like they wanted to be in this with me, And Aya said she just saw my heart and she just felt like she couldn't go anywhere else. Her mom came, her mom liked it, her mom liked me, and I think it was just God connecting me and, I don't know.
Yeah, it was actually, honestly, it was God connecting me and Aya for you. Because usually, when people are running like pharmaceutical companies, they would do like their pseudo and their medication and try and get everything for people to get tested. Aya gave you that opportunity to be able to do like a test run. Even though you didn't think you were doing a test run, you thought you were ready. But she kind of gave you that opportunity to kind of do the test run and be patient with you. And I do believe it was a passion, because even speaking to you, I see the passion. Even from the first day I met you, even just sending the fashion wig, I could see the passion in it. Like, you're like, make sure you tell people. So I think it was the same passion, just wanting to make a difference and not about them. And I think for me and to people watching, is about when people say follow your passion, is really following your passion and putting your passion first before the money. The money will come. Because I think that's the story here. The money will come, but your passion should, because I think that was what everyone saw in you. So thank you for sharing that. You were going to say something.
Yeah, at that time, I wasn't even thinking about money. I just wanted to make her happy. I just wanted to make her smile. And then she actually brought me to realizing that you need to work on your pricing.
Thank you very much, Bimpe, for sharing that. As in that's really inspiring. That leads me to my next question, actually. And that is, how do you balance the emotional aspect of working with, patients that are facing all this life-threatening? We're used to being professional and warm. How do you balance that whole emotion?
Tolu, it is very hard, I must say. I'm naturally an emotional person, deeply emotional. And sometimes in the middle of consultation, I will just take a break. I could just excuse myself for a minute and then I'll go to the bathroom and I'll cry my eyes out. I'm crying just because sometimes it could be, when they do wear the wig and just that joy, the beam of light that, that just the spark from their eyes, or it could be just the tears of just being in pain, and then I just cry and then I come out and I'm like, okay, but in all, I always try my best. And it's so funny that most of these people end up being really good friends with me.
I can imagine.
And I try my best. I show love. I try my best to. Sometimes my consultation could go usually it's an hour, and then sometimes it could go 2 hours.
Not half a day.
You could do an hour just talking. I try to sometimes pray with them. I tell them, I'm like, you are going to leave here with a smile on your face. And that happens all of the time.
So when you say pray with them, that's the God factor. I know that's something other people would like, I think, political correctness about bringing faith into practices. So this is what I believe,
sometimes
and it works.
Yeah, sometimes I think it just it's the mind that connects. Sometimes they would even ask, like, can you pray with me?
Like that.
Yeah.
I like
And then
that.
I'll pray. I remember one person coming and we had finished and she looked at me and she's like, can I ask your mom to pray with me? From nowhere. She was going in and she saw my mom and then I just told my mom and my mom just, said a word of prayer with her. And she called back to say, honestly, Adebimpe, I can tell you that your mom's prayers worked for me.
No one can deny the big G factor.
Absolutely.
Even from your story,
Absolutely.
from how we...
No, honestly, I can't even the things that I post, I would say it's 20% of my clients, for confidentiality. A lot of stories and a lot of people also shy away from women actually suffer from hair loss arising from childbirth.
Wow. So that is something that no one really talks about.
I found out really in depth about this when I started this business. And this honestly sometimes affect their mental wellness, their physical, appearance as they would, want to look. And people really do not talk about this. And this is also apart from hereditary alopecia that arises maybe from stress, life and all, childbirth too. I've actually consulted and I've had women buy wigs severally from me arising from hair loss from having kids.
How do you help them reclaim that self? Because I know with a lot of women, hair has been identified as a form of, it's like our beauty, that's the main source. So how do you help them go through this in terms of regaining their self-confidence? How do you help them through this process?
I'm very, very keen about quality. I would never compromise my quality for anything. So, of course, a woman wants to wear a wig that looks it wouldn't be 100%, her hair, but it looks very close to what her hair used to look like. So I would make sure that I get that quality in terms of the strands, bringing in the good weft. And just so you know that most of the wigs that my medical wigs are not the hand sewn or just wefted. These are fully ventilated wigs. So you have people pick strands into holes just to make sure that it's extremely breathable. And then, you want to be confident. And then when tracks, the wind is blowing and what you're seeing is next to skin. So that also is something that I painstakingly, sometimes it takes almost a whole year to get my production ready.
Whoa.
Yes.
For one or
No, so usually we'll do in batches.
Okay.
So it takes a whole year to get it ready because you have just people ventilating these wigs. And then we're very, very particular about the silicone. It has to be properly, silicone coated and it has to sit comfortably. So when these women wear this, it looks really like their hair, they're confident, they're comfortable, and with the love and warmth around, they're ready to face the world.
That's so beautiful.
And still talking about emotions, of course you would expect death, but the one that really did get to me was Mrs. J. I'd been thinking about her that week and I had someone come in and she's like, hi, I'm from Mrs. J. I was so happy. I'm thinking about Mrs. J and I promised to call her. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, we lost Mrs. J. That really got to me. She was larger than life. She had the hope. I cried. I held her and I cried, But then I felt happy going back to the videos to see how happy she was, how grateful, and how the wig actually did elevate her look when she was alive. So
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I think you were able to give something back to her, regardless of what she was going through.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the beauty of what you do about that was I was talking about your hands. We're literally transforming life with your hands.
Yeah. And I'm grateful to God.
Oh. Okay, so the next question I'm going to ask you, Bimpe, is about how, for entrepreneurs and for even people watching that might be going through one personal struggles or the other, how would you advise in terms of how do they navigate their personal struggles while still finding confidence and beauty within themselves before physical appearance?
I would say for a fact that for people like us who's moved from, back home and coming here, it's quite a different terrain. You have family to take care of, you have bills to pay, you have your daily life outside of your day-to-day business. And I would always say, regardless of whatever it is, regardless of, personal struggles, regardless of setbacks or whatever it is that you might be going through at the time, I would always say that always show up and show out. And I remember when I started, it was, I knew that I had to make myself be there. And I had like a 6-year-old, and at the time, no, she was 5 and then he was 3. I knew I had to take care of them. I had a home to keep, but regardless, I would always show up. And I had to network to know about opportunities. And I'm so grateful for Digital Main Street, I must say, and Parkdale Innovative, because these guys like held me, held me from like my beginning till the very end. They taught me like the dynamics and the intricacies involved in doing business, here in Canada and, outside of the world. And that really did help me. And that sort of like made me quite comfortable in understanding my marketing techniques, my pricing, my, understanding the Canadian soft skills, in just doing business generally. And I'm so grateful for that.
So your advice would be for people to network.
Absolutely.
And also to just keep showing up.
Absolutely.
So what did you say? You said digital, what did you do?
So they're called, at the time, I
so I'm saying this so that everyone can note it down, the entrepreneurs watching.
Yeah, I participated in this grant. It's called the RAISE grant. And at the time, it was Digital Main Street and Parkdale Innovative who were in charge. So they literally helped me. And I wouldn't forget CDAP too. They really, and then I haven't told them like, I'm new here. This is what I want to do. They helped me. They put me through step by step, along the way. And I can say I'm still learning. I am not there yet, but to an extent, I'm very glad. I could be tired, worn out. I would wear my shoes, wear my clothes. I'm out. I go for events. I make sure to network. I meet people. I mean, one that really, struck me was a lady had come and said, I got, someone referred me, and I'm like, who? He's like, Canada Post. I'm like, Canada Post referred you. And she's like, she walked in and the guy was like, she was returning a wig, and the guy was like, you could, I know someone who sells wig, in the neighborhood that you could actually reach out to. And another lady came in and she had said, oh yeah, I'm wearing a wig and I got a wig from her. So she was convinced and she came, to see me. And all of that, it still boils down to networking. Always tell people what you do, because you just never know.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
If you could leave people with a message of hope and empowerment, the people watching, or either clients or people that are probably maybe a new mom, they just had a baby and realized there's someone that is just looking for the right wig to wear, whether for medical, personal, fashion, or what would it be? What would that message of hope and empowerment be if you could leave a message for anyone watching right now?
And this is one thing that I always say to myself, that you have to be happy regardless. Because even if you choose not to be happy just by one day, you can't make up that day anymore. Things will happen, life will get busy, but you always have to genuinely be happy for yourself. And with that, you would have that optimism to face life, to face life's challenges. And when it comes a bit rocky, you're good. When it comes good, you're still very good. Honestly, beauty, like I'd said, beauty means genuine happiness to me. Because when you realize that in life, when you do, and it's even with little kids, even as older people, you get a pair of shoes, you get your hair done, there's just this happiness that comes with it. So it's not just necessarily like the aesthetics, it has to come from within. And beauty to me genuinely means happiness.
Just finding your happiness, finding your happy place,
yes.
Whatever it is.
Whatever it is, just that happiness.
Thank you, Adebimpe.
You're very welcome, Tolu. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
So I'm sure there are people watching and going, how can we get your hair, get your wig, look like or refer? So how can people reach you?
Okay, thank you so much. I am on Instagram at Bimz Hair, and my website is bimzhair.com. I'm on TikTok. I am on LinkedIn in my professional capacity as Adebimpe Obodozie. And also you could reach me via, where else? What are the social networks?
Facebook.
yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah.
And you could reach me via Facebook And also WhatsApp. I have, if you do go on my social media handle, I do have like my telephone number. And then it's not necessarily about just getting hair. If you do have like life struggle, you just want a sister to chat with, I'm here.
In the suite. So thank you very much, Bimpe. And we're
You're
going to put all that information in the link, below. Thank you very much for coming. I know this was, we planned it, but thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you, Tolu.
Changing lives, transforming lives, giving people hope, people that are going to struggle, one struggle or the other. Just letting people, giving people second chances. And my prayer is God continue to strengthen you and give you that wisdom to keep doing what you're doing. And thank you for sharing all those nuggets, how to stay afloat. Remember, raise brands, get the brand, network people, all the entrepreneurs watching. And for those that are struggling with one condition or the other, you know what to do. If it comes to you getting your hair fixed or getting a wig, you know who to contact. So for now, it's bye from Tolu Dialogues, where we inspire, empower, and elevate. So we'll see you for that. So Bimpe, we always do this. This is a Tolu Dialogues, and we always do after all our shows. So we're just going to shimmer with our hands. Okay. Are you ready?
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for coming. Yay!